And now it's time for the latest exciting episode of Doz's Television Workshop.
Hello and welcome back to Doz's Television Workshop. The next few videos I think are going to be sort of a bit project related. I have got some stuff in the pipeline that's my own project. I haven't even got the boards out of the box yet, although I have to admit this is version number 3. But yeah, I've got a lot of work to do with that yet before it's ready to go. So I thought we'd start today with this, which is somebody else's kit. I've bought this from You Make Robots, and it's a little kit of parts and a PCB there. And that is all. There was an invoice in there as well, but yeah. This is a sort of SD card / tape solution, which I'm hoping with the appropriate firmware is going to work with my Auric one, which is still on the bench from last week, as well as my Amstrad CPC 464 from a little while ago. Although I will have to modify the Amstrad CPC 464, but we'll have a look at that. Right, this is part of the sort of TZX Duino family of projects, and yeah, it's a method whereby you use an Arduino Nano supplied, a little OLED display to navigate, an SD card reader, and a slack handful of bits and pieces, passives and actives, to develop a sort of cassette solution. You can't record on this, you can only play back, but well, that's enough for most people, isn't it? Just to get a few games on your computer. So yeah, one thing I will say about the kit, this is the compact kit. And the instructions on the website only refer to the bigger kit. You can find this on eBay from You Make Robots, but if you go along to his web store, it's about £2 cheaper. So why wouldn't you? It turned up very promptly, I must say. So yeah, we've got a few bits and pieces to be getting on with. We need to put some headers on our Arduino before we go mad. The headers are on our display. Now, I've fallen foul of these displays before, so it's probably worth checking, just in case somebody's made a mistake, that ground and VCC are reversed on some of them. This one looks correct, so that's been checked. That's nice. SD card reader, like I say, a bag full of passives. Right, first things first, let's get our Nano out and get the headers soldered on. Right, we've got, we even got the little 6-pin thing. So, Arduino Nano this side. Of course, we've got the 6-pin header, then we've only got one method of orientation, haven't we? So, that's helpful. And I know what you're thinking, why are you putting the headers in the board? So I can get them on straight. Nothing worse than soldering headers on a module and then finding you can't get them in the board because they're slightly splayed. So that should match up into there like that. Which it doesn't. And that's because the 6-pin header is misaligned. We're not off to a great start here, are we? Does that 6-pin header actually do anything? No, it doesn't. Yeah, let me just check that under the light. Yeah, it's misaligned. The holes are too far forward. You need to respin your board. Having said that, what's the betting that That's certainly not going to be a genuine nano. And what's the betting? The pinout is very, very different on the one supplied. Right, I'm just going to need someone to hold that up while I solder it in place. And I'm looking around and oh, there it is. Can't find my universal vice. So all I'm doing at the moment is soldering on the nano to its headers, because I think I'm going to want to populate some of this before we go any further. Okay, I'm just going to pop that out of the board. Now, it does appear to sort of have a selection of which way round thing goes, so I think most of the electronics is built on the bottom. It's all very clearly marked, so let's just have a look inside our bag here. See what we have. We've got some push buttons, a socket for our IC, that's Bosch. Okay, got some capacitors. So resistor, a resistor singular R10. Okay, or 10R, sorry, R2, 10 ohms. That is indeed 10 ohms. So that needs to go in there. 104 written on that one, which is on 0.1 microfarads. And this therefore must be 563, which is 0.56. It's marked on here as 0.05. Sorry, yeah, 0.056. So near as damn it is to swearing. Stick a blob of blue tack on that lot just to hold it in place. Get them soldered on. Take my blue tack off. Cut the leads to length. I've got some very inexpensive looking capacitors here. A bit no marky. There we go. Right, we want a 220, which is that one there. A 100 mic. At 10 volts. Polarities are marked on the board, so that's helpful. Final one should be 10 mic. Yeah. Again, just get me a blob of blue tack just to hold them straight while I solder the things up. We've got a socket for IC2, which is always nice. I think IC2 is a small audio amplifier. There we go. Might as well fit our amplifier while we're here. Yes, LM386. Lovely. Right, also on this side we have got a 3.5mm jack plug and another jack plug. This is 2.5mm. I'm hoping that's for remote, but we will find out. There's no real mention of it in on the website. So remote is used on the BBC Micro, on the Auric 1, and on the Amstrad CPC 464, and it's the start cassette motor and stop cassette motor commands. Now, the Commodore, PET, VIC, C64, whatever, also has a similar thing, but of course you've got a data set for that. And if you remember, I never implemented it on my VIC-20 tape thing that I built going back a while ago when we did the VIC-20 series, because I just wanted to play in WAVs, because we could get older WAV files. Of course we could do that with the Auric as well. It's just more convenient, I think, if I can load them from SD card. And to be honest, if you want to do it with a C64, there are so many Kung Fu Flash, etc., that'll just interface straight onto the web cartridge, SD card in the cartridge into the machine, and you're good to go. You don't need to mess around with this sort of thing, and I don't even know if this would be compatible. Can't see why not, but yeah, I don't know. So, almost everything populated on this side. We've got to slip our nano in. That's good. So let's just solder that on. Okay, we do have to put the SD card module in this side. And they say SD card, it's actually a micro SD card. So it's the little one, but that sort of suits me. Now when they say bend 90 degrees, it goes that way up or that way up. So let's see if we can find our ground pin here. Presumably it connects to the ground plane on this side. Yeah, so that is the ground pin there. So that needs to go in like that and be flat. So, okay. So we've just got to basically straighten those pins out, or maybe even find a straight header to go in there. Let's see if we can straighten them out. What's the worst that can happen? Snap. We change them out, don't we? I think we got away with that. Yeah. Just hold that in. Solder that up. Yep, pleased with that. Right, let's cut a few of these pins off. That's everything fitted on that side now. The rest of the stuff fits to this side. So, yep, let's lose these pins. I don't think I need to actually add the ricochet sound effect in this time. There we are. That's that side done. So what do we got on this side? The push buttons and the display. I think we'll do the push buttons first. We will only go in one way. There we go. Last but by no means least, the display. Do I want it sort of sloping like that, or do I want it bolt upright? I think I'm going to go with bolt upright, because I may have a plan. So I'm just going to get that level with my blue tack there. See, you can see that straight. And then we'll just solder that one up. There we go. Right, more shrapnel. And that's it, isn't it, really? We'll clean that flux off. But just a few minutes work and we're there. Now the next thing we've got to do is flash the firmware into the Arduino. Now somebody's made a tool to do this for you, which is all very well if you run Windows. If, like me, you live in a Linux and Mac household, not so much. We're going to have to do it the old-fashioned way. So yeah, let's get into that. Right, I have to admit, it's taken me a little while to get this to work. If you're lucky enough to have a Windows machine, which, let's face it, most people do, for goodness sake, use the app that's described, because, yeah, doing it with the IDE is fraught with problems, and it's taken me an embarrassingly long length of time to get right. Being a sort of Mac and Linux kind of guy, I don't have a Windows machine to hand, so I'm stuck with using the Arduino IDE and either a Mac or a Linux machine. I'm going to show you on Mac. Right, first things first, get your USB, plug it into the Nano, plug that into the front of the machine. And then the next thing we need to do is find the software. If you Google Maxduino, it will take you to this page on GitHub, rcmolina/Maxduino. Click on download zip. I've already done that. Once you've expanded your zip file, just pop it in your default Arduino directory, which in my case is Arduino. And there it is. It's in Maxduino folder there. And the instructions tell you to find the Maxduino INO file and load that up into the Arduino IDE. Caveat here, if you do that, it doesn't work. What you need to do is just copy that and put it in the directory above. So just paste that in there. There you go. So now if we open that in the Arduino IDE, I have to say the Arduino IDE on an M series Mac is not the sharpest tool in the box. Anyway, you'll notice I get all these tabs across the top here with all the required files. If you don't move that file, none of this appears and it won't work. The other thing you'll need to do is in your library manager, just type in soft I2C master. You need to install that. I've already got the latest version installed. Soft I2C master by Bernard Nebel and Peter Fleury. Congratulations. Excellent work. Right. The final thing to do is to find your Arduino Nano serial port. Then go up to Tools and just make sure you've got old bootloader selected. If you do it, it defaults to ATmega 328p. You need to make sure it's on old bootloader. Then just click upload and it all works perfectly. Right, well, after a few wiring shenanigans, I've managed to connect the output of our Maxduino here to our Auric 1's tape port, which is that one there. I've used one of these sort of 5-pin DIN to many phono connectors and then an adapter in the middle. I've got it running. I've put an image of a game called Xenon 1, which I haven't seen in many years. You'll also notice this lead here, by the way, because I bought an RGB lead, which is leading to this lovely display. And in fact, I have come up with a cunning plan so I can actually grab RGB video and insert them into this picture, but that's a job for another day. So right at the minute, I've got sort of Xenon 1 queued up there. I'm just going to type in CLOAD, which is cassette load, and 2 quote marks there. You can see on the screen here we've got searching. So if I press play, there you go. That is now loading. You can just hear that. If we bend out, you can just hear it coming through the Oryx speakers. But we are, in fact, loading. So, yeah, you can see the file is playing on the display here. It's currently 6%. This is going to take a minute. Let's fast forward. And there it is, just a few minutes later. And wow, that really does bring back some memories. The only problem is, even with RGB, you still get a little bit of noise on the screen. Probably the decoupling is not very good. I remember being so impressed by that signature back in the day, and actually coding my own signature into Oryx 1. Press space bar to play, left, right. Let's turn the volume up, because there we go, otherwise you won't hear it. What do we do? Press space bar to play. Let's go. It's like a Galaxians clone. Quite fast. Yay. Oh, they spawn. Ah! Oh dear, oh dear. Yeah, I'm not very good at that, am I? Let's put my high score in anyway. There we go, 2050. Brilliant. Right, let's move on and see if it'll work on a Spectrum, shall we? Right, so got my Spectrum out. Nice to see it again. For goodness sakes, if you're swapping between a Spectrum and an Oryx, make sure you put your Oryx power supply away, because Spectrum is very different. This is an unmodified but repaired Spectrum. I don't think it ever appeared on YouTube. I think it was a bit of a website job from back in the day. But yeah, it works perfectly. So let's just hit load, and I've put a file on our tape, on our SD card here, and of course that looks good. Yep. And it just loads perfectly. And there you have it, a very neat little solution to loading onto our retro computers, tested here with the Oryx 1 and the ZX Spectrum. But what I really want to do is connect it to the Amstrad CPC 464, but that requires a little modification. So I'm going to come back and do that another week. Until then, thank you very much for watching. Click like, subscribe, do all that rubbish, and I'll see you really soon here on Doz's Television Workshop. Cheers now, bye.
Just a barbaric monkeys come to the touch, 'cause that's working the spell's touch. But now an SD card writes a play, the same retro feeling part away. Remember that old Oryx 1, that track you gives we once spun. Now with an SD card's race, that's the computer such a place. When fire to fight, we trust. Funky deck is a must. Red to cool, this suits chance of nights. Button to the past, we keep strong and thin. Counting clock cycles was then. The screen stays fiddle, but the heart stays true. Basic size fizzle, things ain't new. Guys at the circus, you're brand new. Yesterday spec meets the natural view. Yeah, it brings back us, lost birds of old. Ooh, oh, Oryx 1's legacy forever bold.
Oh no, I never pressed bloody record. Oh, for goodness sakes. Really?